What's going on, my fellow Jedi and Padawans? Welcome back to another Jedi gaming video. Thank you guys so much for coming back to the channel. If you guys are new, welcome. Today we are talking about probably the most OP stasis build, unlimited super that you have in the game right now. This thing is crazy and it works for all three characters, your Hunter, your Warlock, and your Titan. So I'm going over each build for those guys, but let's get right into it. Show you guys this crazy, absolute, unlimited stasis super build right here. So let's get into the loadout right here. First, we're going over Hunter, and then we'll do Titan, and then we'll do Warlock. Now, the mods on the armor sets will not change. They will be consistent for each character. It'll just be some different fragments and then some different exotics for the Titan and the Warlock. So let's get right into it. First off, you need the new exotic trace rifle right here, Aegir Scepter, with the catalyst. This is because right here, when you have the catalyst and you're super fully charged, you can press your reload button and it drains your super energy, overflowing the magazine, empowering the beam with bonus damage and the ability to slow and freeze targets until your super or magazine run out or you switch weapons. And if you switch weapons, wherever the super energy is on your little bar, it'll stop. So if you only use a third of it and then switch weapons, you will have 2/3 of your super still and can charge it right back up. Super important for this build. To complement the build, I use this bottom dollar right here with Outlaw Dragonfly and then Reed's Regret because it is also a stasis weapon and puts out some crazy DPS as well. Alright, next let's get into the subclass. Obviously right here we are using our Revenant Hunter, and then I am using Grim Harvest and Shatter Dive as my two aspects. Grim Harvest, when you defeat slow or frozen combatants, it creates stasis shards, and you will see why that is important in a second when it comes to our mods. And then next, Shatter Dive, this allows us to quickly dodge midair straight down and shatter those crystals. So when we're freezing enemies with our Aegir Scepter and our abilities, we can just Shatter Dive, create a bunch of stasis crystals and shards, and then you will see why those are so important. Next, we're moving on to our fragments, and this one right here is universal. This will be the most important one because defeating those frozen targets grants you super energy. And it's not just a little bit of super energy, especially when you pair it with some of these exotics. It is absolutely crazy, and this is definitely the most important fragment to throw on for getting that unlimited super. Next, right here, I have Whisper of Conduction because those stasis shards that we created via our aspect and our weapon right now, we track those to our position so we don't gotta run around and collect those. And then finally right here I have Whisper of Rendering, so that weapon right there, our Aegir Scepter, does increase damage to those stasis crystals and those frozen targets which it creates itself. So to recap real quick, most important things you need so far: you need your Aegir Scepter with the catalyst. And then next, for your subclass fragment, you need Whisper of Bonds. Those are the two most important so far, in my opinion. And then our next most importance will be our mods, and then our exotic. So for our Hunter, we are using the exotic Scale Eater Stars. This is because you gain additional super energy from orbs of power that you pick up, and while your super energy is full, picking up additional orbs of power overcharges your super, causing you to gain a burst of healing when you cast your super and do bonus damage with your super. Now, we aren't really using our super in this case, but we are using that gain additional super energy from orbs of power. When you use this exotic and grab those orbs of power, which you are creating from your catalyst, your masterworked Aegir Scepter, it counts so much super and you're just refilling it right back pretty much as soon as you pop it to create that overcharged Aegir Scepter. Next, let's go over our mods, which once again, these mods are going to be universal for each of the characters. Titan and Warlock will use the exact same mods. The only thing that'll be different is a couple fragments and then the exotics, like I said. So to start out right here, I have Trace Rifle Finder to get extra ammo for our Aegir Scepter, and then I use Font of Wisdom right here. Picking up elemental wells that match your subclass energy type grants you temporary significant increase in your intellect, improving the recharge rate of your super. Once again, another thing, when you pick up a Stasis Elemental Well, since we're using our Stasis Revenant Hunter, it counts and gives you additional intellect. So it just boosts it right up and you're getting your super back even faster. Next right here, we have Trace Rifle Loader. So if I do happen to run out of ammo, it just throws it right back in there. And then another Elemental Well mod right here, Font of Might. Picking up an Elemental Well that matches your subclass energy type grants temporary bonus weapon damage of that same elemental type. Hence using Adger Scepter and Reed's Regret, both stasis weapons, and then paired with this get extra damage because I'm using my Revenant build. Next, right here, I have Trace Rifle Reserve, so I can hold more ammo in that Adger Scepter, and then Elemental Armaments, which is super important. Weapon takedowns with a damage type matching your subclass, so Adger Scepter and Revenant, have an escalating chance to spawn an Elemental Well. So because we are double pairing that right there, we have extra chances of spawning those Stasis Elemental Wells. Next, we have Rifle Scav, which is obvious, so we can keep finding ammo so we never run out of that Adger Scepter. And then right here is an artifact mod this season, Well of Potency. Picking up a matching Elemental Well grants your super energy. So since we're picking up Stasis Wells, we get extra super energy based on this mod right here. And then once this goes away, you can switch it out for something else, but for right now, this artifact mod is perfect for this Infinity build. And finally, right here, we have Elemental Shards. Stasis Shards count as Stasis Elemental Wells. That's why I said at the beginning when we were going over using Grim Harvest that creates those Stasis Shards. Now, those Stasis Shards count as Elemental Wells, so we're producing actual Elemental Wells with our Elemental Armaments right here because we're using Adger Scepter and Revenant, and then also all those Stasis Crystals that we're creating because we're using Grim Harvest, our Adger Scepter together, defeating frozen targets. It just creates a plethora of Stasis Crystals, so when we collect them, they count as Elemental Wells, and then once again, because we have this, picking up matching Elemental Wells grants you super energy. So every time we're picking up a well or a Stasis Crystal, we're getting back super energy. It's absolutely crazy. And then, like I said, pairing it with Star Eater Scales for our hunter right here, every time we pick up an Orb of Power, we're getting more and more super energy, and every double kill with this, we're getting Orbs of Power created, Stasis Crystals, and Elemental Wells. So this thing produces all three things we need to get unlimited super energy. As you will see in the background gameplay right here, I'm running through K1 Revelation Lost Sector, and I get my super in about 15 seconds right at the beginning of the Lost Sector, and then I can have that overcharged Adger Scepter all the way through the entire thing, wiping out every single enemy besides the boss because you gotta shoot those crystals, but then I get my super right back and can activate it again at the end. It is absolutely insane how fast you get this. Now, while the gameplay plays in the background, I'm going to show you guys the different fragments that you need and different exotics you need for your Titan and your Warlock. So next we move on to our Titan right here. As you can see, our exotic that we want to use is this Precious Scars right here. Now it doesn't pair as well as the Warlock and Hunter, but as you can see right here, final blows with this weapon of a damage type matching your subclass, so add your Scepter and then your Behemoth, create a burst of healing around you. So it's not a super based replenisher, but it does create a crazy amount of healing for your Titan. So next we move on to our Behemoth subclass. So for aspects, I'm using Tectonic Harvest because shattering those stasis crystals gives us those stasis shards. So like once again I said, they pair super well with the mod Elemental Shards and Elemental Armaments, and then with our Well of Potency that you will have on all of your characters. Next we have Diamond Lance, just because shattering those stasis crystals have the ability to pick up that Diamond Lance is just better than the other two in my opinion. Obviously right here I said this one's universal, you're going to need Whisper of Bonds on all 3 of your characters. Next I have Whisper of Rendering again, so our Adder's Scepter does more damage via the stasis and frozen targets. And then for our Behemoth right here, I have, while you are near those frozen targets or a friendly stasis crystal, you take reduced damage. So this guy's basically just becoming a tank with this unlimited stasis build because you're freezing everybody with that Adder's Scepter. You're standing next to him and getting that damage debuff right there. You take reduced damage. You're creating crystals every time you're by them, and then when you pair that with your helmet, every time you get a final blow with that weapon, you're also creating healing. So this build right here gives you that unlimited stasis with our mods, and then a crazy tanky build with that fragment and the helmet here. And finally we have our Warlock build right here. Our exotic that we need is the Mantle of Battle Harmony right here. Takedowns with weapons that have a damage type matching your subclass element grant you super energy, so it pairs perfectly with Shadebinder and Adder's Scepter. And I think this probably fills the fastest out of our 3 exotics. Now we move on to Shadebinder right here. Aspects, we got Ice Flare Bolts. Shattering a frozen target spawns Seekers that track and freeze other nearby enemies, like we've used before, creating more and more of those stasis crystals. And then right here, using our grenade that we can throw out that stasis turret. I'm pairing it obviously again with Whisper of Bonds right here because, as I said, universal, you need it. Next right here we have Whisper of Shards because shattering those stasis crystals grants you an increase in your grenade rate, so we're able to pair that with Bleak Watcher right here where we can just throw out our stasis turret almost consistent. Next right here, slows from our abilities last longer. That pairs perfect with our Bleak Watcher as well. That slow from that turret is just going to last even longer, giving us a better chance to freeze enemies and create more stasis elemental wells and give us even more super energy. Finally right here, again we have Whisper of Rendering. Kinetic weapons do additional damage to stasis crystals and frozen targets. That just pairs perfectly with our Adder's Scepter, giving it even more damage output. So that's it. As you can see, just like I said in the gameplay behind me, this thing gives you super energy super fast. I know this is on my Hunter, but it works just the same on the Warlock, and it's super close on the Titan. Warlock, like I said, might even be the best loadout, but I love the Hunter version of it. Definitely my go-to, and it just lasts so long. You get unlimited freeze, unlimited super. It's amazing. It's a great PvE build. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Build out this crazy infinite unlimited stasis super build. I don't even know what to call it, but you're just running around like Frozone. You Mr. Freeze. It's amazing. Like I said, hopefully this helped you guys out. Crazy build. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.